Good morning, guys. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. Welcome back to my channel. Maybe this will go under Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip. Guys, please like, subscribe, and share. So, I wanted to talk to you about what's going on. So, Becca Scoops and Nina, Flawless Nina, the beauty influencer. They're both people that I honestly care about. People that will get unconditional love. It doesn't mean with unconditional love that you always get unconditional support, because I can't always support things that are wrong or that I feel are wrong. I just want to say, I don't feel that Nina's wrong. I don't feel that Becca's wrong. I don't feel that Becca's a racist, but I don't feel that Nina's wrong in having her feelings. You know, racism is something we have all suffered racism. I'm a Jew. 6 million people. 6 million people went in a fucking toaster, right? That's true. You know, it wasn't that long ago when the Israel, when everything went to shit, and they were throwing fires and shooting up Jewish communities, Jewish synagogues, and just going into Jewish establishments. And if somebody looked Jewish during COVID, do you remember when they were burning Asian people because somebody had the brilliant idea that some Asian came over with COVID and brought it in a bag or something? I live in New York, so I remember watching that on the news every day. Asian people getting attacked because of COVID. Black people hanging, being burnt because of the color of their skin. Gay people found in fences. You know, my dad, I remember him saying to me about 30 years ago, it wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things, he said to me, well, you're making your life harder on yourself, aren't you? You're already a female and you're gay. Like, you're making it really hard on yourself, because even 30 years ago, women weren't like thought of equally, right? And here I was adding another minority on it, that I was gay. Another prejudice that could have been. So I don't know what it feels like to be a black woman. I know what it feels like to be a woman. Right after like when I was being raised, a woman was going to be a mom, and their career could have been a housewife. That's back in the day. And there wasn't opportunities that there are today. Listen, I know that I don't have to be Jewish, right? Well, first of all, you guys know that I'm Christian, but I'm Jewish. I have Jewish blood, 100%. But I'm Christian because that's how my heart aligned. I believe in Jesus as being more than a prophet. I believe in being the Son of God. I believe that. But true, I can walk around and nobody would know that I'm Jewish. people would say, you don't really look American, you might look a little Middle Eastern there. And there's prejudice against that too. I read the things about Becca's late ex-husband. I didn't find him to be prejudiced. He was cleared of any charges. The whole department was named in that lawsuit. The whole department. Not just her husband, the whole department. And her husband was cleared. They tried to use the racist card on him because they were trying to get the man that shot him off of the death penalty. And they couldn't prove it. So it failed. He wasn't. Now, there are people that could say, yeah, just because they didn't prove it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Absolutely. I am not even going to debate that. I'm only going to debate the facts here. And these are the facts. The man was cleared of that. The man didn't have that on his record. You can look it up. You can look it up. Listen, there's a way to read things, yes? There is a way to read things. There are still people that believe Gypsy Rose Blanchard has Munchausen by proxy. But you can't convince us of that. So there are people that are going to read the reports from Becca's deceased husband, and they'll read it the way they'll read it. And then there are going to be people that read the reports and they're going to read it the way that they read it. Is that fair to say? That's fair to say, yes? I found, first of all, this was 30 years ago. It was 30 years ago. I never found Becca to be racist. Her late ex-husband was a Mexican. So I don't even understand how a Mexican could be put into a white supremacy group. He was a Mexican and he looked Mexican. Becca's husband now is Japanese. I don't think Becca really cares for Caucasian men. I mean, I don't know. I got the same email, I think, that that Nina got about the Karen Reed case. And so Nina, I did catch where Nina said if another content creator wants to come out and talk about, that was me. That was me. And it's true. I don't think Becca could be not honest. I don't think Becca could be objective about the Karen Reed case. She was 100% sure that Karen was guilty. You know, she still might be 100% sure that Karen's guilty. I don't think Karen was guilty, and Nina didn't think Karen was guilty. But that's just a difference of opinion. I didn't take the email that Nina got or that I got and, like, Becca was trying to tell me what to do. Becca had a real concern with me about that community, but it was because of, you know, the viciousness of that community with, like, Turtle Boy. It wasn't about the case. She never said, don't go over the case, don't talk about the case, don't do this with the case, nothing like that. And I would have loved to have had a healthy debate with Becca, but Gypsy gave us all of our frigging content. And still kept have a conversation with Becca at some point if she would. I do think that police officers do stick up for one another. I do think that. And the Karen Reed trial, I think that showed us that, if we're to believe everything that we witnessed in the Karen Reed trial and with the outcome of it. Okay? So I think that that's true. 100% true. I don't think any of this makes Becca a bad person. You know, the way we read things, we have to sometimes say, who's that coming from and what's their intent behind it? And I didn't take it as Becca looked down on me or Becca was anything. I took it as just information she was giving me. I'm not Nina. I didn't already have some sort of feeling towards Becca, whether it be right or wrong. These are Nina's feelings. They're hers, and she can have them. She can have them. I don't have to agree with them, but I feel like I know both of these women, and both of these women are good women. Now, people have said, you know, have you heard the thing about Becca and gay marriage isn't anything sacred? Yes, I've heard that. Yes, I have. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with somebody who doesn't think God wants a woman and a woman or a man and a man to be married. I don't have a problem if that doesn't align with them. I don't have a problem at all. Just don't throw rocks at me and don't stop me from getting married. One of my oldest friends is a Southern Baptist. I think she thinks I'm going to hell because I'm gay. Am I going to hate her because she can't help how she feels? She doesn't wish I go to hell. She actually prays that I don't. I love her because she prays that I don't, not because she thinks I am. You see the difference there? You can always find something in somebody that you love. You can always see their true intent. Becca's been nothing but kind to me. Nina's been nothing but kind to me. I care about both of these women. I was there when the thing I was there when whatever went off. So let me tell you about that. Because this is what I think got us here. Case Studies put out a post or a video or something, or both, I don't know, I don't care, about how to unsubscribe to Ivory Rose because she's a flip-flopper. Nina's friend, Ivory Rose, knows, right? The dark-haired one. And during one of Ivory's streams, live streams, she was saying that she was losing subscribers because of what Case did. So somebody reached out to Becca and said, hey, listen, can you please reach out to Case and tell Case to take his video down because or his post down, because Ivory's losing subs. And so Nina asked him. So Becca asked him to take that down. You know, would you consider taking that down? And he screamed at her, hell no. He yelled at her, hell no, I'm not taking it down. And by the way, Nina doesn't like you or your husband. What? Why? So Becca tells me this, and I said to Becca, why would he tell you that Nina doesn't like you or your husband? Where'd that come from? Like, why would you hurt somebody's feelings? Well, you know when people do that? People do that, like I said, when they're fucking drowning and they start reaching out for anything to keep their head above water. And guess what? he used Becca's head to keep himself above water, because there was no reason. Him and Nina were close friends at the time. Nina will even say, she has said, that was her friend. Why would he break confidence by telling somebody something that is only meant to hurt their feelings? All Becca did was say, hey, listen, people are asking to please take that down. She's losing subs. And that's the way he responded. And then we all end up doing this live stream because I see it. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, I want to get on there because I don't want him pulling her into anything more, because I already see what's going on here. And then I don't know the conversation he had with Nina, but I get a text telling me that Nina has declared war on him and Becca. I didn't respond to that. Nina's not Israel. She doesn't declare war, and there's a reason why I'm doing the quote thing. And that person knows it. And then, after I think he makes a deal with Nina, and Nina says, listen, man, we're friends. Lose my number. Which I think that's what Nina said. Lose my number. I'll leave you be because I have respect for the friendship. Just like she said online, I believe that. I believe he made a deal with Nina, and the collateral damage ended up being Becca. I don't know what he said to Nina about Becca, but I can guarantee you he said something, because he said something to Becca about Nina. And this guy doesn't stand alone. He doesn't stand alone. So then I got another message from Case saying, I got a bad feeling we should talk. You got a bad feeling? You got a bad feeling? You're safe, Case. Becca's in the water. And why? Because she reached out to you and asked you to please take something down because somebody asked her to reach out to you. You yelled at her and told her no. And guess what, Case? You took it down. It's not there anymore. And Becca was your collateral. And you haven't reached out to her to say, hey, how can we help this? How can we make this better? Nope. You're looking just like Gypsy Rose behind you. Guys, maybe Nina would have exploded on Becca at some point. Maybe not. But this is what happened. Now, I'm not saying at all that Nina's behaving this way about Becca. This is a big deal. If you really feel like somebody has aligned themselves with somebody who is racist, then I get it. I don't feel that way. I didn't see the evidence. I'm not a black woman. But I'd like to think if I was a black woman, I could still be objective and know that there are good cops out there and that there are good people out there of all color. And I know Nina knows this. She's not an idiot. But I feel like there's a lot of emotion here. Maybe I'm talking out of turn here, but I feel like, you know, she was friends with Case, and that friendship might be over now. And I'm sure she hurts because Nina does have a heart. Nina does care. But I feel like she got hit with a fucking bowling ball. And I don't know what was on those other pins, because I don't know what Case said to her to make himself cleared of shit. But that's what happened. That's what happened that day. And I want you guys to know that.